aka Trigger Ranking. So we in, y'all know we gotta get to it. Y'all come on in, y'all come on in. About to check out Scandalous Most Los Angeles TV.
Hi, I'm Scott McGilvery. I use Backfitter in my investment properties because I know it'll be worth every penny. If you want a bath remodel you can trust with your money, it just fits. Go to backfitter.com to book your free consultation.
One answer about this whole situation that you may have, after listening to this, if it hasn't been answered or if it maybe pop different questions up in your mind, I want you to leave it in the comment section so I can write it down.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers and edify through entertainment. The other day, Smoked Out went deep into the vault and pulled out an oldie but goodie, a classic Doc Hicks video. In this video, Doc is speaking with a certain individual that wanted to remain anonymous, and this individual breaks down CS2 Back's connection to E1 and Alan Grunblatt. This was a solid piece of content, and a lot was revealed in it. So today, we're going to go through it, dissect it, and as always, put some paint where it ain't. There's a lot happening in the world right now.
The U.S. bombers carried out strikes today at 3 Iranian nuclear sites, one at Natanz.
Yeah, man, Donald Trump done lied, y'all. Donald Trump definitely lied. It's not a ceasefire. It's not a ceasefire. Iran says no ceasefire. And Donald Trump just said it was.
Previously been hit by Israel. Israel and Iran have been trading strikes since Israel's surprise attack last Friday. Israel has already attacked the site at Natanz, now the United States. American
Appreciate it. How y'all doing? Y'all hit the like button, man. Hit the like button.
Short-range ballistic missiles. Iran's supreme leader posting just moments ago.
Hey, bro, stop playing, bro.
Will not surrender.
Bro. Elegant content, bro. Get off my channel. I don't know who that is, bro. Get off my channel, dog. Stop playing with me, bro. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, bro. That's a whack ass shit. Like, I'm like hell no. Like, you tripping out here, bitch, dog. You tripping, dog. I'm looking at this nigga like, damn! The fuck? Anyway, bro, let's listen to the joint.
Anyone?
But it was one I was trying to play earlier. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. There was a fire one I seen earlier. Oh yeah, I did watch the NBA Finals, and it was crazy because the dude from the Pacers got hurt, man. Like, it would have been a better ball game, but they got blew out because they lost one of their star players, man. So That was a heartbreak. Well, I'm kind of glad that the underdog won because basically, they never got it before, so they won. Thank God, you know what I'm saying? Their first time getting the chip, so and they got it with a young team too, with SGA and them. So it was a good game still without old boy getting hurt, but I think it would have been better with him in there.
Violation.
Let's now switch to Israel. Go to our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Hicks. He's live in Tel Aviv with the latest, not only from Israel, but what do you make of the fact that this appeared to be a pretty limited response, Trey?
Yeah, John, good afternoon. We're getting more information from regional sources right now on this Iranian attack targeting the Al-Udeid air base.
A lot moving beneath the surface. And if you're paying attention, you can see and feel it. And what's wild is how all of this ties together. The industry, the politics, and the posturing. So let's get into it. Let's break this down and see what we can uncover. So let's get into it. Let's break this down and see what we can uncover.
Now, this first part that I'm playing is a discussion with an individual that we're going to remain anonymous at this particular time. Just if this individual decides that he wants to put out his name, but he's close to the situation, not going to disclose his area or anything because he has a lot of ties and piecing different things together.
Yeah, the finals, they went to a game 7, so it had to be competitive. Wasn't no blowout. It wasn't like Jordan was playing in there, so. Yeah, you're right. It was very competitive. They went down to the last game. So a game 7 means a very competitive final. So yes, you're definitely right about that.
But this is a discussion that we're going to start. We're going to start a little series. Now it's named Tupac Decoded. Now WAP 100 Association to E1. Now this first part is about an hour. It's about half an hour. Where just this first initial discussion of us just talking on the phone. Now after this, I'm playing this for you guys first because I want y'all to get an understanding of what maybe the 3 or 4 part series is going to be about, where we're going to actually sit down, not sit down, but have them on the phone, and I'm going to actually interview them. I'm going to do different questions so I can break things down. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way, because I want to give you guys the opportunity in the comment section where if there's any type of questions that you want answered about this whole situation that you may have, after listening to this, if it haven't been answered or if it maybe pop different questions up in your mind, I want you to leave it in the comment section so I can write it down. And the ones I feel like is most prevalent to the situation, I'm going to ask them, and we're going to piece some things together, create dialogue. This is for the sole purposes to create dialogue. So go ahead and check this out and holler at your boy DOC. Peace.
Now, before WAC 100, even politics, and opened his mouth and said he was working for these dudes, people that already know a little bit about what's going on already know who E1 is. You feel me? Yeah. They're basically getting paid. They're basically their company people to basically destroy the legacy, and also, like I mentioned, push the false narrative that Orlando Anderson was the one who killed Pop.
So now you've really got to ask yourself, why are E1 and Alan Grumblatt invested in pushing the narrative that Orlando Anderson killed Tupac? Why are they so concerned with that version of the story? What's the agenda? Who exactly are they trying to protect? Because when people go this hard to control the narrative, it's never just about clearing things up. It's about covering something up. So the question isn't just what happened. The real question is, who benefits from the lie?
You see what I'm saying? These are the people that are involved with the movie. These are the same people that are involved with Master Flex, all of a sudden just having this random ass rant that ain't nobody understand where the fuck it came from.
Would have never did that. If you would have never talked about this situation, and I'm gonna tell you what I fucking hate. I'm gonna tell you what I hate, and people always want to ask me why I say 20 years later. People always say, why? I said it 20 years later. I said it when the fucking shit was going on. And Biggie wouldn't have fucking died if that nigga hadn't lied. He lied. You know, he's worshiping him. Lied.
This is Alan Grunblatt's money working in real time. So now we see exactly what the elites are spending their money on. Guys like this. This guy, Flex, is sitting in front of a camera, crying, trying to push the idea that Tupac is the reason Biggie got killed.
That's definitely not true. That's damn sure a lie.
And it was because of some lie he told. This is what happens when the check clears. This is what their money does. They will have grown men out here grooming and cooning on camera, rewriting history for clout and a couple dollars. Flex didn't just say it, he performed it. Got on camera, made up a story about Tupac being responsible for Biggie's death, and then cried about it. This is how far some of these dudes will go for approval, not truth or justice. Just a paycheck and a pat on the head from the people holding the purse.
Never, ever said nothing about him. You fucking lied.
That's why we got Whack 100 all of a sudden calling Tupac Mama a dope fiend and all this other shit, and people just don't understand where the fuck it's coming from.
You don't know what the fuck Pop was talking. Keeping it real, his mom was a dope fiend. She was a Harry Tubman. You clowns talk this shit like dude was Malcolm X or some shit. He was a rapper that womanized, did drugs, and preached violence. He was coming an ex-Klan, 9-track SSD.
So now y'all can see exactly why Porky's been acting up on the internet, doing all this clown behavior, pulling stunts, stirring up mess. It's really not that complicated. It's because of his handler, the one pulling the strings behind him.
Well, we all got handlers, Chuck. We all have a handler. Stop it, Whack. You know I got a handler.
And here's what you gotta understand. Whenever you see somebody who looks like us get on camera, saying or doing things that most of us would never say or do.
Bosco, Boski, every other word, blood. Fuck you, slob, spider load. Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you, crab ass nigga.
9 times out of 10, there's somebody exactly like Alan Grunblatt standing behind them. That's how this game works. They don't come out and say it themselves. No, they use people who look like us, so it goes undetected. So you won't question it. When you ask yourself, why are these guys doing this? It's because there's always a very wealthy somebody behind them, with a different agenda. And guys like Porky and Flex, they're just the house niggas they send to carry it out.
It's coming from checks that are cut from E1. The first person, but Greg Cady, the cop who was involved with, this cop was involved with the Biggie case, you know, getting everything together and whatnot. This dude was knocked off the LAPD for changing witness testimonies. So he was already fired by the LAPD. So why is E1 having him as the person who's creating this documentary called The Murder Rap? You see what I'm saying? So they're all working for the...
Hey, y'all watch Murder Rap. If y'all, anybody in here, it's a documentary called Murder Rap. It's about Tupac and Biggie.
Same entity. E1 not only is in control of Pac, but they're also in control of Dr. Martin Luther King, and they're also in control of Biggie Smalls as well, with their likeness.
I can see everything.
Better than Funny Friday.
And they're also in control of Biggie Smalls as well, with their likeness.
Do you know why Prince, the famous rock star that was a friend of mine, do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name
awareness and perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the fuck could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at the table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central.
So basically, this company has, if they wanted to say Martin Luther King was a gay Muslim, they could, because they had, and his family couldn't do shit about it, because basically they own the rights for him. You see what I'm saying?
See, this is one of the key things they do in the business world, especially in Hollywood. After you die, they still want to be able to profit off your name, your image, and your likeness. That's what Dave Chappelle said. If you ever read those contracts, you'll see phrases like, in perpetuity throughout the universe. Yeah, the universe. That means if they set up shop on Mars, they can still slap your face on merch and stream your voice through satellites. You're gone, but they're still eating off you. In perpetuity means forever, even outliving the contract itself. And this is exactly what happens when people sign those industry contracts. It's not just a business deal. It's basically like you selling your soul. You hand over your identity, your story, your legacy, forever. And they turn it into a product. So when folks tell you, read the fine print, this is what they're talking about.
Read the fine print.
Because once you sign, they own you. Not just for this life, but for the next one too.
Now, you know what E1 is. They're connected somehow, some way with Interscope. With a Time Warner. Everybody knows Time Warner and Interscope. All that stuff, they all in bed with each other.
Yes, they're all in bed together. Same people, same network, same agenda. They're all part of that same culture Donald Sterling was talking about. The one I broke down in that documentary I dropped a while back. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch it. It's all there plain as day. They've all worked together. And part of their strategy is this. They use people who look like us to keep us at each other's throats, to stir up drama, keep us distracted, divided, and off code. It's not just about entertainment. It's not just about clout. It's about control. When you see these influencers and media heads fanning the flames, playing puppet master over conflict in our communities, understand that it's all by design.
You get what I'm saying? But the main thing is this company E1, this company E1, this company E1.
Since we're talking about E1, I want to show you guys something real quick. Here's something you might not know. E1 even owns the rights to kids' shows, like PJ Masks and Peppa Pig.
Damn.
That means their influence doesn't just stop at hip-hop or street culture. It reaches all the way into your children's minds. Saturday morning cartoons, bedtime shows. They control the message. They own the characters. So while they're pushing one agenda to adults through music and media, they've got a whole different grip on the next generation before they can even spell their own names. It's not just business, it's strategy. Look at what E1 thought would be good to include in children's cartoons. In a recent episode, Peppa Pig introduced its first same-sex couple. Penny Polar Bear, a character in the show, has two mothers. Inclusion marks a significant step in representing diverse family structures in the popular children's series. The episode, titled Families, features Penny drawing a picture of her two mothers and explaining that she lives with them. One of her mothers is a doctor, and the other cooks spaghetti. The show's decision to include a same-sex couple follows a petition calling for more LGBTQ representation in Peppa Pig. This move aligns with a growing trend in children's television. Previously, the show Arthur featured a gay wedding, and Bluey has also included references to same-sex parents. Once again, for some reason, E1 thought it was a good idea to introduce this type of imagery to children before they can even spell their own names. We've already seen this with Peppa Pig.
Damn.
But let's talk about PJ Masks. Now, PJ Masks is a kid's cartoon where the characters turn into superheroes. One of them is a little girl named Owlette. She transforms into an owl-based superhero. And if you know anything about symbolism, you already know what the owl represents in occult circles. If you don't, you might want to look that up. But here's where it gets real. There's a brief moment in the show, blink, and you'll miss it, where Owlette is transforming, and she throws her hand out. And on 3 of her fingers, there's something written. I paused it, and looked, and it's 3 sixes. Clear as day. So you've got to ask yourself, what is E1 really doing putting that in a kid's show? What are they telling us when they put these images in front of our children? You might brush it off, say it's nothing. But that's exactly how subconscious programming works. They don't announce it.
Chevy is called the heartbeat of America. Like the people who keep this country moving. For them, only America.
But that's exactly how subconscious programming works. They don't announce it. They don't explain it. They just slip it in, fast and quiet. In the documentary I did, I showed you who they themselves are telling us they are. This is who CS2 Back and Reggie Wright, a deacon in the Church of Christianity, are working for. A system and a company responsible for planting this kind of messaging into children's minds. And the executives down at E1 know most of us won't catch it. They know the average person has no understanding of how deep this goes. And that's the trick. What you don't understand, they use against you. Every time.
Now, there's one dude I think you should I don't know if you've been on your YouTube, but there's one dude, bro, you gotta check out. This dude is real instrumental as far as putting all the evidence together. You can see what's happening now, bro, is you got a lot of people who was involved in that shit in the 90s and early 2000s that are now, without putting their name or putting their face to shit, sliding this man all the evidence that they had before. All the evidence as far as the gun that was used to shoot Tupac, I ain't gonna say kill him, but we gonna say shoot him because we still don't know what's up with that. It's all kind of stories about how Gaddafi was at the House of Blues and they confiscated the 40 Glock from Gaddafi at the House of Blues, and instead of the Semitic police giving the gun back to Compton or giving the gun back to the sheriff, they gave the gun back to Right-Way Security, who was owned by, of course, Reggie Wright and Reggie Wright Sr. The gun was given to them, and the gun was never given to the police. So right then and there, it tells you that these niggas got something involved with the gun. You get what I'm saying? But I don't want to get too deep into conspiracy because, of course, I could be on the phone with you for hours about this shit, my nigga. Right. But when it comes to the most recent rants from Flex and E1, I mean, Flex and WAP 100 is specifically from, because these niggas are getting checks cut by E1. Now, Flex, the reason why he's crying and all that shit is because he don't want to say what he's saying, but he knows he got to say it because these niggas is paying him to say it. You feel me? And I sent you, go ahead, my bad.
I don't know, in one of my videos, when I was talking about that Flex shit, I said that I was like, dog, when I really look at his eyes while he's crying, it seemed like somebody else is pushing the buttons behind that, like, he not crying because he's emotional, he's crying like,
there you go.
If he really don't want to do this. That's how he really sad.
My nigga, you are so on point. You on point. He don't want to do it because, come on, nigga, think about it, bro. Think about it. He said what he said, okay? Let's just say for some reason he just slipped up and said some bullshit one day, right? Why does the nigga then tell you to stay tuned for tomorrow and then he was going to finish what he was saying today, tomorrow, knowing he already got the backlash that one day? Who in their right mind will go back again the next day and then subject themselves to a double dosage of a backlash? It didn't make sense. He was doing that shit because he's getting paid. They're forcing these niggas to do this shit. You feel me? Now, I sent you a link to WAP 100. It's Instagram live feed, he's at the airport or whatever. He's talking about a bunch of other bullshit. But I want to say at 6:04, I think I gave you the number, the minute. He talked specifically about owning these death row reels and him being hired by E1 to executive produce these songs, to push them out and do what he want to do with them, whatever. And you got to think about how Instagram, how YouTube and shit work, and people that are trending, how that works. You got this company, E1, who could have picked anybody to give this information to, give this shit to, but they chose WAC 100. Why did they choose WAC 100? He's a loudmouth nigga, he's trendy at the moment, and it seems, it's not true, but it seems like everybody in LA scared this nigga.
We all got handlers, Chuck. We all have a handler. Stop it, Wack. You know I got a handler.
But that ain't what it is. Now, this is from E1's perspective. Like, who can we give this? So they picked WAC 100. WAC 100 is a nigga, he manages game, manages Ray J, but who knows if he making real bread like that? You feel me? So I'm pretty sure he took that job, knowing what the backlash was going to be, but he still took it. You feel me? Now, 40 Block, take it for what it's worth. 40 Block even mentioned the fact that WAC 100 in the mid-90s was trying to get, trying to be a bodyguard for Suge, not in the mid-90s, but after, Death Row had, Pac had died and Snoop had left, and they were kind of resurrecting the role, and I think Corrupt had became like a president and shit or whatnot. WAC 100 at that time was trying to become a bodyguard, and Suge wasn't do it. You see what I'm saying? So now it's like, I won't say the roles are reversed, but now WAC 100 got his little clout up and his little shit up or whatever. Now it's kind of like he's kind of some sort of a boss. You know what I mean? So E100 looked at him like, okay, I think we should target him as the nigga that, we get to do all this shit. You see what I'm saying? That's why they picked the nigga from the East Coast, Flex, that got a voice, that got a mouth. They picked the nigga from the West Coast. They couldn't pick Big Boy or nobody like that, because that they wasn't gonna go for it. They picked a perfect nigga, WAC 100. You feel me? Now, I don't need to go on and on, but this company, you gotta know who Greg Kading is. This motherfucker is a dirty ass cop. For one, he was, like I told you, he was kicked off the LAPD for changing witness statements about not only the big case, but all kind of other cases and shit. And he got fired, but his official term, I think, was retired. And the only reason why they retired him was because if they would have fired him, every case he worked on, all the niggas would have been had to let go free by law, I guess. So instead of releasing some prisoners and shit, they like, well, nigga, you need to retire. You feel me? So he gracefully walked away for the sake of the prisoners not being coming free. But he's got fouls on him for putting
guns. That's low down dirty right there.
This dude is dirty as fuck.
That's
and
dirty.
E1 chose this man not only to destroy not only to put the narrative, the Orlando Anderson narrative together, but to also keep Biggie Small's mom away from winning her, I forget how many $1 billion it was in settlement. Basically discrediting anything, basically saying it was the East Coast, West Coast shit that killed Biggie. You feel what I'm saying? And because when Greg Kading was doing this investigation, not one time did he ever include all the dirty cops that were in play here. Now, on the contrary, you got Russell Poole, rest in peace. Okay, I don't know if you know about Russell Poole, but Russell Poole was an LAPD detective, the real LAPD detective who was killed for solving the case. He's dead now. For one, not only did he solve the Tupac murder because he received the confession letter, which Greg Kading and them trying to discredit, but he received the confession letter from the niggas who did it, which were the Patton brothers. The Patton brothers, Lil Half-Dead, Snoop Cousin. I know this is going to sound crazy, but hear me out. Lil Half-Dead, Snoop Cousin, the Patton brothers, and one of the undercover officers were the 4 people in that car that went and killed Pop.
Now look, I agree with almost everything these guys are saying. Except when it comes to that confession letter. Here's why I don't fully believe it. They claim Little Half-Dead wanted to kill Tupac, because Tupac stole his song Brenda's Got a Baby. First off, Brenda's Got a Baby came out in 1991. Meanwhile, Snoop, who brought Half Dead into the fold, wasn't introduced until 1992 on the Deep Cover soundtrack. The world did know Little Half Dead at the time Brenda's Got a Baby dropped, and Tupac was nowhere near Death Row Records at the time. Death Row was barely off the ground. So it's hard for me to believe that Tupac could have stolen that song from him. And Pac explained where the song came from.
The video you made with that basement dumpster? Yeah. Where's my with that song in that video? I was reading New York Post when I was doing the movie Juice, and it was this story. It started out to be this big story about this family who died because they didn't have heat, they left the gas on, everybody died except this girl. She moved in with her cousin, second cousin. She started dating her second cousin. He got her pregnant. Nobody noticed she was pregnant. And I was like, dang, and nobody talked about that. No young black males, no black males talk about black females like we should. We need to take more responsibility for this because we know who will.
He said he read an article in the newspaper about a 12-year-old girl who dumped her baby in a trash can. That article exists. This is documented. So how does that turn into a motive for murder? The letter claims that the Patton brothers and Little Half Dead were in the car. I don't believe Malcolm Patton and the others could have hit that car that many times, that accurately, unless they had serious military-level training. And here's another thing. The letter says Reggie Wright gathered multiple people from multiple gangs at a park to talk about who was going to be the one to kill Tupac. That just doesn't sound believable to me. To me, it almost sounds like the letter was an attempt to muddy up the investigation, like Reggie likes to say, just to throw people off. Marion Knight said that if you solve the Tupac murder, you'll solve the Biggie murder, because it was the same circle of people.
Damn.
So if that's true, how come nobody is blaming the Patton brothers or Little Half Dead for the murder of Biggie? And even with that album cover from Half Dead, yeah, it shows what looks to be Gaddafi and Tupac, each with a bullet in his head. But a picture doesn't prove action.
Damn.
Nobody's accusing Half Dead of
killing
Gaddafi in New Jersey. So why take the image as proof that he pulled the trigger on Pac?
But with the murder rap DVD from Greg Kelly can tell you is that DVD was outside Thomas Crib was in that car, and Orlando Anderson was in that car, and Orlando Anderson got jumped in the casino. So okay, now let's go get the get back, and let's go also get the get back and get the money from Puff Daddy that he put on the head of Pop. This is all Greg Kelly's story. You see what I'm saying? And this is a story that, like I said, was all fabricated to take the true story and who really killed Pac and what the real reason was. And not only killed Pac, but it was also a coup to kill Suge Knight, because at the time in '96, Death Row was worth $500 million. Right now, that's like almost $2 billion talk inflation numbers and shit like that. So think about it. You got a black man from Compton owning a $1 billion record company. These Jewish white people was not sitting that. So the lawyer of Suge Knight, David Kenner, okay, who is no longer his lawyer anymore, David Kenner was the one who implicated Suge Knight in the kicking of Orlando Anderson on the ground. And Anderson police and told everybody that Suge Knight did not kick him. He said, Suge Knight didn't kick me, Suge Knight didn't kick me. The lawyer of Suge Knight provided the MGM footage to the table. So basically he created his own client. On purpose, by the way, because it was a coup to take away Death Row, to take away all that shit from both the niggas and give it, to basically do what they're doing now, living off the residual wealth and all the shit that Pac did before, so his wife can get paid for it. But back to Russell Poole. Russell Poole found out all the stuff with the case based on evidence. Not only did he take this evidence with the confession letter to the sheriff's department, he also uncovered the plot to kill Suge Knight at the One Oak Club. I don't know if the club is in LA or in Vegas. I think it's in LA. I'm from LA. I don't know why. I don't know if the club out here. But the One Oak Club where Chris Brown, it was a Chris Brown party. I don't know if you remember this, bro. But it was a Chris Brown party. I think Tony Parker, the basketball player.
Oh, that's where he got shot.
Anyway, at that party, Suge Knight got shot 5 times. Now you tell me what nigga get shot on accident 5 times. Even innocent bystander. Don't no nigga get one in the leg, one to the heart. 5 times, nigga. Come on. Don't nobody get shot 5 times. So hear me out though. Russell Poole, rest in peace, got the surveillance of the LAPD cop who picked the shooters up from the airport and dropped the shooters off.
Damn.
Okay? And so he took this evidence of the confession letter, okay, all the other evidence that he had, the footage of the LA sheriff cop picking these niggas up and taking them off. He took all that to a meeting at the LA Sheriff's County Department office to tell them about the shit that he had, to tell them basically Greg Haynes is lying and full of shit. And this is the real story. Russell Poole never leaves that meeting. He dies in that meeting from a heart attack. Okay? Yes. Right. So, you already know Orlando is dead, Russell Poole is dead, Frank Alexander, Tupac's ex-bodyguard, who kind of cracked all this shit open with the 2-hour play-by-play analysis of what happened with the last night Pop was alive and dead. All these niggas are coming up dead, bro.
So this is the people are like, the interview of this dude who won the Black 100 homie from this hood that's really like this OG. He like nobody's standing behind Wack on them and shit. So people wonder like, okay, this own hood not standing behind him. He feel this comfortable going this hard, knowing that there's millions of Tupac fans and he gotta feel untouchable. So the E1 is, you said basically the motherfuckers that's behind him, and they basically willing to protect him. But this is what's crazy to me. So I'm wondering if E1 owns the rights or the likeness to an individual. You know what I mean? That's like, okay, E1 owns the likeness to the car that's in front of you or whatever. Why would they want to?
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation.
I ain't got premium. My bad. Give me a second.
For you, with professional grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Want to shit on this if this is their money maker. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that part of it. It seems like it's kind of going at it backwards. Like, why would you want to make everybody dislike something that's basically your money maker that you want to go, that you're trying to do?
That's a great question. That's a great question. And basically, how I can answer that is they basically get paid off the good and they get paid off the bad. So you got Wack 100 talking all this shit. People are still tuning in to hear what he got to say. People are still tuning in, no matter what our opinion is. We still gonna put we still gonna put play. You feel me? We still gonna, and they gonna get paid off of it if our opinion is shitty of it or we love it. They gonna get paid off to play. You see what I'm saying? Now,
when I go back and watch my videos, and the interview after that today, he was like, he said Black 100 told him, he didn't say Black 100 didn't tell him who, he was like someone paid him $150,000 to do this. But it's crazy because like the interview was 43 minutes, and it's like it's crazy because no one, that's the main part of the video I wanted people to listen to. It's like no one's really, I'm like, fuck all the other shit, you talking about Black 100 ain't no shooter, this and that. I'm like, that's what's
all that, yeah.
You know
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it was like, I'm trying to figure out some type of way. See, that's why I'm like, do you have anything like in black and white? So if I do want to press that issue and not press it hard, then it sounds like this is some real shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, like trying to come. It makes me where, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. It made me, since I started doing all this stuff, every so often being on YouTube, or some people will try to put copyrights on your shit or whatever. Now, if a motherfucker you play YouTube, you put up something, I can put a false copyright on your stuff, and you gotta appeal it. Now, if you appeal it, you know what I'm saying? Say if you appeal it, now I can reject it. Now, if you know you in the right, that makes you want to appeal it again. Now, if you appeal it again, it turns it into a legal process where YouTube lets them know like your full name, address and everything associated to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to go back and get a PO box and all that stuff for that reason. I'm like, you never know how people behind the scenes are thinking. Like, if you really want to know who's behind this channel, you find out address by just doing that simple thing.
Exactly. And that's how you know Reggie was playing games when they tried to say, I was some white man from England. They know exactly who everybody is. And even if they didn't, all they'd have to do is hit up Alan Grunblatt, and he'd reach out to his people. And just like that, they'd have all the info they need. These folks are too connected, too calculated, and too well-resourced to not know. So when they start pretending like they don't, that's part of the act.
You know, yes, sir. I want to, you know, do the journalistic work and shit out there.
I'm proud of you. Yes, my brother. That, man, you so on point, bro, because I was thinking this is like, man, this shit gets so deep, like you said, you don't know how deep you want to go. Like, how deep do you go before they start coming to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand, bro, and I love your channel, bro. You do some real good shit. And that's why when I'm like, bro, this dude is so close, but only if he, because it's just one dude, man. You gotta look at this dude, man. His name is Tanique Reviews. Okay? Now, in my opinion, I think this dude is gonna wind up dying pretty soon. Okay? For the simple fact, he is the guy that is ordering all the FBI files. Okay? Everybody that got some information about it, they're sending it to him, and he's somewhat spearheading this movement to get somebody prosecuted. And long story short, the brother is closer than ever before. I mean, it's close to the point where he got Russia. He's flying out to Russia today to go get some shit that the Russians got on Tupac. I guess the Russians were spying on the U.S. for some shit at that time, and they got some shit on Tupac and Biggie that they're threatening the United States with, or the FBI with, but you know, the FBI, they in transition right now, so they just fired the director, and they got to let him go, so they going through a lot right now, but long story short, literally Russia says they have information about this shit.
I don't know. Do y'all believe that, though? They talk about they got some shit in Russia on Tupac.
Now listen, the brother that's speaking, he's not lying about what he's talking about. Tanique was dropping real paperwork, FBI files, testimony, receipts. He was exposing exactly what's been going on behind the scenes. What they knew, what they heard, and what they tried to bury. He had Kevin Hackey's full testimony. And that's where things got deep. Kevin Hackey said he gave the gun back to Reggie Wright. And that same gun is the one that ended up being used to kill Tupac. Hackey even said he brought the gun to the FBI, and instead of keeping it, after they ran it for ballistics, they handed it back to him and told him to return it to Reggie. So they were on top of everything. And Tanique was out here pulling the curtain back piece by piece. Reggie was shook. He was so worried about what Tanique was exposing, he got on the phone with him. So when you hear that recorded conversation between Reggie and Sharitha, that's Tanique on the other end. It was Tanique who recorded that call. That's why we even have that audio.
Here's your text. In the book Labyrinth, you got the receipt and all the checks that Kevin Gaines got in the back. Death row record. No, they got a death row record, an allotment for Suge Knight, $10,000. Several of them was found in his gym bag and in his locker. That's what you're going to see in the movie when it's released. I promise you. I can't swear to God, but I wish I could. But I promise you, you can see it. In fact, I'm going to post it. Now that you said it, I'm going to let you see it. $10,000 from Kevin Gaines. Sharitha gave it to him. An allotment from Suge Knight. Well, this is not from management or something. No, it says death row record. Hold on. You can give me a call. I don't want to answer about that. Hold on. Okay. All right.
What's going on?
Man. Well, I'm going to somebody's going to do a story, and they're going to feel it's going to be in the movie too.
Can you give me like 10 minutes? I'm in the cell.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you one question though, right quick.
Wait a minute, hold on. Let me turn on the phone.
I'll take a picture of that too.
I can't hear you, so let me wash my hands. Wait a minute.
This thing I'm talking about take a picture of it too. Nigga, you ain't player.
Okay, now what you say?
Nigga, you ain't no player. Nigga, you ain't no player.
Very quick, big bro. Kevin Gates. I couldn't check for something like that from Buffalo Records. I thought you came from Buffalo Records. Explain it. He's not. No. Now, we got something where they trying to say that they got 15 of check forms and stuff like that from Buffalo Records. No. Never.
But I ain't that scammer. Hey, liar. Hey, why not on a paper trail when I never brought him around nowhere?
Exactly, that's what I was like.
So if I'm gonna hide him in secret, you think I'm gonna let somebody catch a paper trail? Even when he works with, and I don't even think he's the one that works. He got his friends to do it. And he paid cash by Snoop.
Yeah.
So no, there's no reason. And there's not $10,000. That's my made up shit.
Well, anything?
Not that I'm aware of. No, not unless it was that whole other thing.
Yeah.
It would have been from Death Row.
But that would have been later. That would have been to you. It would have been to.
And Tanique wasn't just putting out fluff. Kevin Hackey said he gave the gun back to Reggie Wright. And that same gun is the one that ended up being used to kill Tupac. Hackey even said he brought the gun to the FBI.
Damn.
And instead of keeping it, after they ran it for ballistics, they handed it back to him and told him to return it to Reggie. Wow. So they were on top of everything. Wow. And Tanique was out here pulling the curtain back, piece by piece. He was showing so much real, documented info that even I was telling people, yo, they're about to book Reggie Wright and them for the Tupac and Biggie murders. Because Tanique was putting too many facts out there, too much proof. And just as I was saying that to people, guess what happened next?
Retired LA County Sheriff's Lieutenant and his son, a one-time cop with the Compton Police Department, have been indicted on federal drug trafficking and money laundering charges. Prosecutors say Reggie Wright Sr. and his son Reggie Wright Jr. are both members of the Great Street Crips gang.
The way the timing played out, it almost looked like Reggie was arrested just to shield him from all the new paperwork that was surfacing. It felt too well timed to be a coincidence. Like they moved on him just in time to keep certain things from blowing up any further.
So you got niggas that are literally flying out to Russia today to go and get that information, or at least with their freedom of information out, see what they can get and what's going on. Now, like I'm telling you, your boy, you smart, bro. You put it together yourself. It just don't make sense for a nigga to throw his stuff into the fire like that. You feel me? And he told his boy that he was getting 150 racks. Yeah. He getting more than 100. He getting more than 150 racks, bro. He's getting more than 150 racks.
When you said in an interview, like I just let him talk.
Y'all hit them like button, man. Hit the like button.
You know, like when you do an interview, you don't really want to like keep hitting them with questions. You might not
hit the like button.
Stop them from really saying some real shit. You just want to kind of
live TV.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Give them just some real shit. So I was just letting them talk. So in my mind, when he said it, it kind of threw me off my next question. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, people gonna catch this, but I'm like, damn, what type of proof do we got other than him just saying he kind of dogging Whack 100 and then implying this? Is people gonna believe it? And then I'm just constantly scrolling through my comments all day. I only seen maybe 3 or 4 people actually pick up on it. I had to actually make a comment myself inside of my comment section and post it at the top of the comment section. The timestamp of him saying it. I want people to actually see it. You know what I'm saying? Hear what he's saying. So I'm like, that's the most important shit. You know what? That's answering the question of why people are like, why after 20 years. But let me ask you this. So the dude, you mentioned something about somebody named Keefy D. Is Keefy D still alive?
I'm aches. And I'm pain. And we keep you up at night because we're fixing it.
Somebody named Keefy D. Is Keefy D still alive?
Oh, good question. Keefy D, and man, God don't like ugly, bro. Look, Keefy D still alive, right? So basically, when Keefy D told Greg Caney basically forced him or whatever, but in order for Keefy D to get out of the penitentiary, he basically told the story. He fabricated the story about him and Orlando Brown in the car. You see what I'm saying? Now, he told this story, and he got out of jail. So here comes Russell Poole following up on Keefy D like, okay, I'm going to re-interview Keefy D and see what's up with this shit, right? No, R.J. Bond, which is Russell Poole's partner. R.J. Bond wasn't a cop like Russell Poole, but he was his partner with this documentary. So R.J. Bond re-interviewed Keefy D. Keefy D said straight up, he lied just to get out of the pen. Right. He said he told Greg Caney everything he wanted to hear just to get out. And I can find that and send that to you. Matter of fact, I'm going to lie. I'm going to send some shit to you right away, like, you know, throughout the day, and then today's coming, I'm going to send some shit to you that may help you. But Keefy D said that. So his shit is discredited. Now, where's Keefy D now? He got cancer. And word on the street is Keefy D got something to say before he died. You feel me? That he got, you know, something that he wanted to get off his chest, so to speak. So if Keefy D come up there before he died of cancer, then we know why. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm guaranteeing you that he want to come out. First of all, he already said he was lying, but I think he want to come out.
So we know this old because we know right now Keefy D locked up.
More like, because Keefy D is Orlando Anderson's uncle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if people knew that. That's his uncle. You know what I'm saying? They from the same hood, same everything. And like I said, he got cancer, and he's basically coming out saying that shit ain't true. But people, they got billions of dollars to push their narrative. That's the thing. They got billions of dollars to push their narrative. That's the thing.
Just like the brother said, these people aren't playing with millions. They're working with billions to push their narrative. And the real shame is, a lot of that money was stolen straight from the artists who built the culture. They stole Marion's company, which was worth $500 million. Comedy Central took $250 million from Dave Chappelle. That's $750 million between just two people. And that doesn't even include the lifetime of residuals made off their names, images, and creative work. Remember when Donald Sterling talked about culture? You've been watching that culture in action, right in front of you this whole time.
You know, it's like a campaign when you run for president. This man may be a better president, but this motherfucker got $1 billion in campaign money. He gonna win. It's the same thing. But I'm telling you, bro, the free press, people like yourself, are going to be the people that crack this shit open. Because niggas like you can't be bought. I'm not saying you know a nigga can't give you some money, but it's a certain level you willing to go, bro. I hear you. You feel me?
Integrity as well. You know what I mean? Like, you want people when they come into your, platform, that they kind of have trust in what you're saying, that you're not creating a narrative. Like, listening to all this stuff that you're saying, it's making me think back of maybe like a month ago, that was like, Suge Knight finally killed Tupac. And then I just seen a video maybe like 3-4 days ago where Whack 100 was like, he talking shit on the phone, blah, 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 and he's supposed to be getting out in 90 days.
Scared of Suge. I just talked to Suge. Suge just gave me his life rights to do his movie. Stay tuned. Yeah, Whack got the life rights. TMZ, whoever y'all looking, Whack got the life rights to do Suge Knight's movie as of 48 hours ago. We just talked for the first time. Me and the homie got settled our differences. You know what I'm saying? We was mad at each other.
I don't believe that.
Life rights to Suge Knight. Let me tell you, he'll be home in the next 90 days. Let me tell you, he'll be home in the next 90 days. I'm prepared his bail, all that. Life rights is coming. Rise and fall to death row. When I'm scared of my homeboy, for what you talking about?
Okay, now let me elaborate on that. Man, you on the point, bro. I love it. Let me elaborate on that. Now, the first thing you said was, what was the first thing you said? Fuck.
Suge admitting that after all this time that...
Okay, yes. Okay, so that was like I said, Suge had a lawyer. His name was David Kenner. He was the lawyer that was doing everything. He's the corrupt lawyer that basically got all this shit back. You feel me? He's a Jewish lawyer. You feel me? He's a Jewish lawyer. You feel me? That wanted to take that role from Suge. And he took it from Suge with the help of Suge's ex-wife, Sharika Knight, and of course with the head of right-way security, Reggie White, and ex-police Captain Reggie White. Okay, so just so you know who they are. Okay. Now, his new lawyer, his name is Thaddeus. I forget his last name or first name, but his name is Thaddeus something. He signed an affidavit basically saying that the story that Russell Poole and R.J. Bond came up with was indeed the true story. Word is Suge shed a tear when Russell Poole and R.J. Bond told him, because they hadn't talked to Suge at all. They didn't get no interview from Suge, none of that whatsoever. They got the story together and reached out to Suge Knight's lawyer, who indeed Suge Knight's lawyer he got the story from them and told to Suge, and Suge basically signed off on it. Like, he was surprised that these men were so on point with the story. And the lawyer signed the affidavit. That's why they keeping his ass in there on $25 million bail, because they want him to agree to the murder rap theory instead of the Russell Poole R.J. Bond theory, which is the true story. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they got him in. That's why and also another thing about that shit with Suge real quick was when he went over there to Tam, when he went over to Tam and he ran over the nigga at Tam, they was trying to kill him.
You know, it's more, it's bad in church to do this right now, but I'm going to put this out there right now so we'll get a grasp of what's to come. As you know, the day before Suge was shot in the Camp parking lot, I had a conversation with DC. We all know it's Jerry Carter, who's a brother friend of mine, and the truth is just the truth. A day before Suge was lowered to the cams, I myself was asked, they didn't know if he was going to come. And Terry and several other guys whose names I won't mention through this recording because they're street chats, trying to offer me money. One of the guys was an officer of Compton one time, as everyone knows, who was Reggie White Jr., as well as Dr. Dre, offered me money to lure Suge with Jerry Carter to the Terrence parking lot because they wanted to kill him. So there was money placed on the table for Suge to get killed. Dr. Dre said that Suge was a thorn in his side and he wanted him out of there. Asked Terry, I said, Terry, I can't do that. You know me and Suge is like brothers. He said, look, now I'm behind on my house note as well as my children's life insurance policy that I need to pay this life insurance. He said, please do this. You're willing to get you a lawyer. He said, Reggie had cash money that he was willing to take my family to take me to help lure Suge in the parking lot. So as much as it hurts to do, I don't want to go into all the names, but I want Reggie and all those to know, as well as Snoop is involved with this and other rappers who wanted to Suge taken out. So as I say, stay told, Suge is coming, and just strap that seatbelt, strap up, because it's coming.
What are you?
I want a job where I can help people.
I want a job building vodka. I want to work.
It's coming, and just strap that seatbelt, strap up, because it's coming.
Wow, that's heavy duty information. Appreciate you.
We want to go into more details later. I got the flu right now. I'm a little bit under the weather. Please release that too. Like you're breathing the way I'm breathing. I've been waiting for this moment. It's an opportunity to go forward. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the people dragging my name, this man's name, through the mud. So as I say, grab your seatbelt, strap up, because the truth is coming. My target is Reggie White, as well as Greg King. And Dr. Dre and Snoop will have to answer for what they have to answer for. The truth is the truth. As much as it hurts with Jerry, but that's what I was asked to do, was to walk my brother down the parking lot. They do it at my boss show. They do what I do, high-level good news that would come. And I just couldn't do it. As I told you earlier, I've known this man since I was 17, 18 years old. There's two things in the pot. So he must have to do it. And real dudes don't turn on real dudes, whether they represent the red or the blue. And that's just how I feel. And so as I said, I can't speak for him and what he knows and the information that he has, but before I have for full immunity to bring this stuff to a light. And again, I've chosen to stand by my brother, and that's what I'm going to do. So, the headline of this whole thing, I guess, would be is that Dr. Dre wanted Suge out the picture he paid to have what took place with Suge.
What's called Android? There's a little knowledge and recording.
I've actually heard a tape. I won't go say who, but a very, very important person who let me hear a tape. And, the gun was picked up and it's on tape. There are checks that prove what I'm saying. That was, people
brother. Have a great day.
All right, God bless. All right.
Because if you don't know, Dr. Dre owed Suge Knight $330 million. Okay? When Suge Knight, hear me out, bro. When think about the movie NWA, and I'm not just basing this off the movie, I'm just giving you an example.
How much? Hold on, we gotta go back. How
Suge
much?
Knight, $330 million.
330 million?
When Suge Knight, hear me out, bro. When think about the movie NWA, and I'm not just basing this off the movie, I'm just giving you an example. Think about the movie NWA at the end when Dr. Dre left Suge Knight. What did Dre leave with? He left with nothing but his talent. He signed a lifetime deal with Suge Knight.
See, Marion was trying to follow in the footsteps of the music executives he had been watching. Like you heard in this video, the real game is getting someone with a legacy.
Jay Prince did that to Scarface, Rap Lot Records. He signed Scarface to a lifetime deal.
And locking them into a life rights contract. That's the trick. This is what Porky and Marion.
That's how they get you, so then you can't get out your contract. They always own you for the rest of your life.
Culture and the industry at large. Look closely. When people like Jimmy Iovine,
that's why it's best to go independent.
Heller.
You might have a distributor, but that's it. Independent only. Own your own masters, own your own publishing as an artist.
Or even Comedy Central gets someone to sign over their life rights. It works. They profit. They expand. They flourish. But when Marion tried to pull the same move on Dre, it didn't go the same way. He ended up shot and eventually thrown in prison. Eazy-E tried the same thing too. He learned it from Jerry Heller, who, let's not forget, is also part of that same Donald Sterling culture. And we all saw what happened to Eazy. After he passed, a former Ruthless Records security guy, Mike Klein, who also happens to be connected to that same culture, tried to steal half of Eazy's company from his family.
So Suge Knight gets 30% of everything. That was a young nigga making a dumbass business decision when he was young, but you can tell Dre was going to get out of death row, so he just did what he did and he left. With that being said, he signed a 30% contract with Suge Knight. So everything Dre got, Suge got 30%. Same thing EDE was doing to his artists, because EDE wanted to do distribution deals. And man, this shit gets so deep. And that's why they really killed EDE, and we talk about that another time. EDE was doing real big with the black distribution and wanted to own the distribution.
Just like I was saying before, when people connected to Donald Sterling's culture want to own distribution companies, there's no issue. They get green lights, funding, and protection. But when we try to do the same thing, it's a whole different story. Marion Knight, Irv Gotti, Jay Prince, and Dame Dash were reportedly coming together to form an independent, black-owned distribution company. This move would have been a game changer. It threatened the power structure of major labels and distributors that had always controlled the industry. The idea was to take back ownership, cut out the middlemen, and give artists more control over their music and profits. But before the Lucky Charm could even launch, all of them were suddenly hit with federal investigations or legal trouble. Marion got locked up. Irv Gotti was hit with money laundering charges tied to Murder Inc. Jay Prince dealt with constant law enforcement pressure. Dame Dash had his own battles in business and court. The timing wasn't random. It was a coordinated effort to shut down what could have been a major shift in power. That's how the system works. When we start building true independence, they hit the switch.
So long story short, Suge Knight wasn't tripping on Dre leaving because of the distribution deal, not the distribution deal, but the 30% lifetime management deal that he had with Dre. So when Dre sold Life Beats to Apple, okay, Dre Beats to Apple for $1 billion, you do the math, I mean, of course, it's $330 million that's due to Suge Knight. Okay, and you can go look that up on Google right now. But we already knew about that before Google even reported it in the because we know what the contract was, not the contract, but what the agreement was when he left, and we know he's supposed to be getting his money. So Suge Knight earned his money, right? Not only do we want the $330 million from Dre, he wanted $200-something million for his likeness in the movie that he didn't receive, and even Ice Cube said he needed to receive. So they called it a meeting to talk about the money, maybe set a deal, maybe da-da-da-da-da. So they said, oh, man, come to Tams. So Suge Knight said, okay, fuck it. I'll go see about my money. I'll go to Tams. I'll pull up. There ain't none but niggas I know I fuck with there, right? So he pull up. When he pull up, he see niggas lurking in the bushes. He see niggas cocking shit. And then he see his homeboys trying to come up to him. He see his homeboys got a fucking gun. Suge Knight ain't stupid. He getting the fuck out of there because he know these niggas finna set him up. They coming to talk about millions of dollars, but we ain't talking a couple of racks. They talking about a nigga $500 million they talking at the oldest man.
Right.
So with the help of the sheriff's police department, the sheriff's department, because like I said, Compton Police Department, when they disbanded, I don't know if you know, Compton used to have their own police department. Then with corruption and the Rampart scandal, they were disbanded. Once they disbanded, the LA County Sheriff took over jurisdiction. Most of those cops that were in Compton Police Department went over to the LA Sheriff's Department and basically fuck with the same area that they were fucking with the police department prior. You see what I'm saying? With that being said, they still got connections with those folks. Some of them niggas are captains now, all kind of shit. So they played it so when no police was finna come up around that time. You feel me? So Suge Knight goes to talk about this shit, and like I said, he sees all these niggas creeping up with butters. He gets the fuck out of there. He run the nigga over there, one of the niggas over there, was consolidated killing, and he get out. Because they didn't want to pay, Dr. Dre had those niggas set up, and he didn't want to pay that nigga that money. So then,
he didn't run that dude over. That would have been the end of him that day.
Yes, sir. And you think it's a coincidence that Tupac mom died before this movie?
Right. That's
bro.
All that shit comes out. It ain't no reality.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, bro, and hear me when I say the feds are watching this shit, bro. The feds are watching this shit, bro. They are watching this shit, bro. Not only are they watching this shit, bro.
Whose side are they on? You think they on the Jerusalem side, or do you think the feds want to crack this case, or you think because of so much money involved, they might have a sleeper or something in the feds that's not really tripping?
Good question. I think the feds are divided because, for one, you got good niggas in the feds, believe it or not, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the thirsty people in the feds. But the key thing is that's going to help the feds. The key thing is that's going to help the feds say, okay, let's try to do something. It's the fact, and it's going to sound real crazy.
All right, that was part one. All right, that's part one. We're gonna we about to go into this
on the deep end of it.
So basically, that was that one. We about to go through. It is still Most Scandalous Los Angeles TV. Y'all go check their channel out, man. Got some good content. We about to go. We talking about the COINTELPRO, Hip Hop Cops, and the Black Messiah, the untold story.
They have an idea that
if you go back to
there's a Messiah.
If you went to my earlier video, the one before, I guess this one, I think we was talking about it.
So I'm about to tell you guys the coolest story you've never been told about. And this is probably the most important part of this entire video. How many of you guys have seen this statue before? This statue is an image that comes out of the Bible as well. It actually comes from a dream that the king of ancient Babylon had 2,500 years ago. The king had a vision of a large statue made up of differing metals. The head was made of gold. The breast and arms were made of silver. His waist and his thighs were made of bronze. The legs were made of iron. And the feet were a mixture of iron and clay. When you understand this statue, then you'll truly understand why they believe that there is a Messiah coming. In the second year of his reign, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, was troubled by a dream. He summons his magicians and astrologers to interpret it, but demanded that they first tell him what the dream was. Of course, they protest that no man can do such a thing, because who can tell a person what their dream was last night? Since none of his men could tell him what his dream was, Nebuchadnezzar ordered that they all be executed. At that time, the kingdom of Judah was in captivity under the Babylonians. So this decree of the kings also fell on Daniel, being one of the captives from Judah. But he, through the agency of his God, is able to tell the king the dream. It was a dream of a great statue, with a head of gold, arms, and chest of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of mingled iron and clay. A great stone, not cut by human hands, fell on the feet of the statue and destroyed it, and the rock became a mountain that filled the whole world. Having related the dream, Daniel then interprets it. It concerns 4 successive kingdoms, beginning with Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel explains later in the book that the next kingdom to rise up after Babylon would be the Persian and Medial Empire, who would later be conquered by the Greeks. This is when the Europeans first truly came into power. He then explained that a kingdom stronger than iron would appear, and that kingdom would crush and destroy many. This was the kingdom of Rome that rose to power after the Greeks. Then he goes on to say that when that kingdom is destroyed, another kingdom would rise up that was going to spring out of it. He explains that it's going to be strong as iron, but it would also be divided and weak as clay. The 10 toes at the feet of the statue represent the 10 different kingdoms that sprang out of the Roman Empire, like Italy, Greece, Spain, and Great Britain, just to name a few. This is the time period that we're in right now. At the end of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, he saw a stone come and smash the entire statue, and that stone represents the Messiah. Understand this, you guys. King Nebuchadnezzar isn't just some fake person that somebody made up one day. All of our history books bear witness to his empire and his existence, not just the Bible. However, according to the Bible, this statue that you're looking at was from a dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had. This same dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, and the interpretation of it, was then shown to the prophet Daniel from the tribe of Judah in a dream while he slept. Daniel explains that the statue represents every superpower that would rise up in the earth before the Messiah returns. We are right here on this statue, right here at the bottom. This is what they call the end of the world, and you see what kingdom the Bible said was coming next. The reason your oppressor believes this so much is because the book of Daniel was written somewhere around 600 BC, and every kingdom that he said would come into power, came into power, and left, exactly the way he said it would, with pinpoint accuracy. If you guys don't believe me, just Google it, and you'll see that all of these kingdoms came in order just like Daniel stated. I know it sounds like just some crazy old story, but it just so happens that this crazy story predicted the last 4 kingdoms that would come to power in the earth, and it also predicts the next kingdom, and that kingdom is called the Kingdom of Heaven. This is the reason that the oppressor wholeheartedly believes that there is a Messiah coming. Now, if you guys didn't listen to anything that I said thus far, please pay close attention and try and understand what I'm going to show you next. Again, we are here at the bottom of this statue, the time of the 10 toes, or the end of the world. And you can see that this chart has Europe listed as this particular kingdom. Remember, according to this statue, the final kingdom before that rock comes is represented by 10 toes of iron and clay. The book of Revelation speaks about the end of the world as well. It just utilizes different imagery. In the book of Revelation chapter 12, it talks about a red dragon, that has 7 heads and 10 horns. This red dragon also fights against Michael and the angels in the end, and the Bible calls this red dragon the devil and Satan. According to this statue, we know that the final kingdom is represented by 10 toes of iron and clay, and after reading Revelation, we see that the devil is depicted as a red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns. Now look at this, you guys. Let's see what Google tells us when I type this in. Are the 10 toes in Daniel the same as the 10 horns on the red dragon in Revelation? Yes. It says, yes. According to many biblical interpretations, the 10 toes in Daniel's dream are often seen as symbolic equivalents to the 10 horns on the red dragon in Revelation, both representing a group of future kings or kingdoms that will rise to power before the end times. Do you guys see that? I don't have to spell that out, do I? Remember, I didn't write any of this. Now you tell me, who is the oppressor telling you he believes he is?
The work of the beast spoken of in the book of Daniel and Revelation. The Apostle Paul had already begun to see this mystery unfold in his days.
This is a white man's country. This is a white man's world. White man's world dominates the whole planet. White men go to any country and kill everybody. Take over anything they want. This is a white man's country, a white man's world. I'm not bragging about it, I'm just telling straight. I'm just telling you the fact of the matter. White people out of Europe have dominated Europe and have dominated Europe has dominated the world. And so England has manipulated and exploited the races, the peoples of the world. The white man has been using exploitation, commerce to manipulate and exploit the whole human race. So I cannot believe that some young black guy who walks in and he's going to take over the old white man's establishment on here. Ain't going to happen. No. They brought him in for some reason to make him look like a schmuck one of these days. But he was not in control. Obama's just a Trump man. They get rid of him like he did Kennedy. He's a very powerful man. John Kennedy, everybody loved him. Handsome, debonair, president of the United States, wealthy, and they shot this guy in public, and nobody went to jail. Nobody's ever going to jail. Why? Because the power that run this country will kill you. You think for 1 minute you're going to get out of line and be important in this country, they'll block you so suspected. As a matter of fact, the California state has a I don't know if you know this or not, but the mafia has their own license plate in California. Do you know that? Yeah. The mafia has given their own license plates by the California state government.
So let's start with the biblical description of Christ, who was from the tribe of Judah. Notice that this description is polar opposite from the modern-day depiction of white Jesus. The book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So verse 14 said his head and his hairs were white, letting you know that the hair on his face and head were white. Then it tells you that the texture of his hair was like wool. Then it tells you how white his hair was, saying it was white as snow. Some people think it's saying his hair is white, like the color of wool. That can't be what it's saying, because it just said his hair was as white as snow. We know that wool and snow are not the same color white, which lets us know that when it says like wool, it's talking about the texture of his hair. If that isn't clear enough, look what the Bible says about the hair on God the Father's head. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, and the 9th verse. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. You guys, I didn't write any of this. This was written in Hebrew, long before any of us were born. It just said that the Ancient of Days was sitting on a throne, in a white garment. Notice that it says, the hair on his head was of the pure wool. It doesn't say a color. It only mentions the texture of his hair. So it's safe for us to assume that the hair on Christ's head was the same. How many of you guys knew that the God spoken of in the Bible had woolly hair? Now, when we go back to Revelation chapter 1, verse 15, it tells you that Christ's feet were the same color as brass, as if it had burnt in a furnace. Anything that you burn is going to get darker, letting you know that he was a dark brown skin complexion, which is consistent with all of the definitions we read, listing the Hebrews as a dark-skinned people. If Christ is from the tribe of Judah, and he is dark-skinned with woolly hair, that means the rest of his people would look like that too. I'm showing you guys all this because this is who the oppressor believes that we are, whether you believe it or not. Since we're here, just for shits and giggles, have you ever wondered why they call us the N-word? I mean, have you ever wondered where they got that from? Well, let me show you. The book of Acts, chapter 13 and verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul. Now, the way English works, Niger, is pronounced Niger, but let's listen to how the word is pronounced in the Greek language that it was written in.
Strong's G 3526. Niger. Niger.
As you guys can see, the prophet Barnabas was called
Niger.
And you can see the definition of that word is black. This is just more proof that they believe we are the descendants of these people. I showed you where they get the black part from. Now let's dive a little bit into the Messiah. John chapter 4, verse 25. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Verse 26. Jesus saith unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. I that speak unto thee am he. I that speak unto thee am he. In the Bible, the Messiah is an anointed Savior from the line of David, who saves his people from death and sin, delivers them out of the hand of their oppressors in the last days. The book of Isaiah, chapter 63, verse 4 in the NLT. For the time has come for me to avenge my people, to ransom them from their oppressors. The entire Old Testament looks forward to the arrival of this Messiah. Prophets predicted his roles, and people like Noah, Moses, Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, and Esther foreshadowed his role as a savior. Now, I'm going to read from the book of Acts, chapter 1 and the 6th verse. Listen to the account of Christ speaking to the Jews after he was resurrected from the dead. And remember, the word Jew refers to the kingdom of Judah. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons, which the Father hath put in his own power. But ye shall receive power, after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you. And ye shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem, and in all Judea, and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner, as ye have seen him go into heaven. Now, I read that to you because the scripture just said, that after Christ had spoke those words to them, a cloud picked him up and took him up to heaven. Earlier we read a scripture where Christ told the woman that he was speaking to, that he was the Messiah. So, according to the Bible, we know who the Messiah is. And according to the Bible, we know where the Messiah went. So if we know who the Messiah is and where he went, why are they focusing on us when trying to prevent the rise of a black Messiah?
They have an idea that there's a Messiah coming and they're not sure who it's going to be. They're not sure who it's going to be. They're not sure who it's going to be. They just know it should stick out. 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 So they look every time something sticks out to make sure that's not it.
Was part of your other activities and responsibilities to study the profiles of celebrities who were supportive of organizations?
Definitely, and especially, like I said, psychological backgrounds, weaknesses, and strengths. Did he have a weakness for blondes? Did he have a weakness for money? Did he snort cocaine? Did he smoke marijuana? They even get into, and that was one thing the Bureau loves, is their sexual background. They have files and files on different blacks, not only celebrities, but a lot of others.
The Black Panthers are the single greatest threat to our national security, more than the Chinese, even more than the Russians. Our counterintelligence program must prevent the rise of a black Messiah from among their midst, from among their midst, from among their midst.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and the 18th verse. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, from among their brethren,
from among their midst,
from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. The scripture we just read in Deuteronomy was a prophecy referring to the one the world calls Christ, the one who was also referred to as the Messiah, and the one that the Bible said a cloud came and picked up. J. Edgar Hoover read Deuteronomy 18 and 18, and it made him think about somebody else being raised up from among us. Even though the Bible says the earth was given to the wicked, it also says that the wicked was created for the day of evil, and that none of the wicked would understand. So because they truly believe that they are the wicked that the Bible is speaking of, and they also believe that the God spoken of in the Bible is talking to them when he said that none of the wicked shall understand. Because of this, they think God is playing a trick on them. This is why Cat Williams said they don't know who it's going to be. They just know it should stand out. This is why we are the center of their attention. And this is their way of covering all angles. They oppress us down here on earth, trying to prevent the rise of a Messiah. And at the same time, they still are waiting and preparing to fight with a Messiah that's coming from out of the heavens.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very special moment because this is the presentation of the Space Force flag. Space Force flag. Space Force flag. So we've worked very hard on this, and it's so important from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, from every standpoint there is. As you know, China, Russia, perhaps others started off a lot sooner than us. We should have started this a long time ago, but we've made up for it in space. We have developed some of the most incredible weapons anyone's ever seen.
It's a very history of Space Force and the establishment of Space Command. The United States is now doing what it needs to do to protect our assets in space. And and ensure that space remains the heavens by which we not only protect America, but we sustain our economy, we sustain our commercial capabilities, we sustain Americans' way of life. So again, another very historic moment. I'm confident that both the Space Force and the Space Command will do what is necessary to defend us in space.
I think it's safe to say that Russia, China, the US, and all the armies of the world are all preparing for a war in the heavens. You guys just heard him. Those are their words, not mine.
The Black Panthers are the single greatest threat to our national security, more than the Chinese, even more than the Russians. Our counterintelligence program must prevent the rise of a black messiah from among their midst,
But from among their brethren. In the verse we just read out of Deuteronomy, God told Moses to tell his people that he would raise up one of their brothers from among them. J. Edgar Hoover said that they wanted to prevent that rise. This shows you that these guys are in direct opposition of the God spoken of in the Bible, and his attack on us is a direct result of that fact.
In the early 1920s, before we had an FBI, we had a BI, a Bureau of Investigation. A young, ambitious, and unprincipled attorney named J. Edgar Hoover was hired in the BI. And one of his first assignments was to explore how to destroy the mass movement, revolutionary Pan-Africanist movement led by Marcus Garvey.
Back in the 1920s, before the FBI was named the FBI, Hoover was charged with the assignment of undermining Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
J. Edgar Hoover wrote to a colleague, "Garvey is a notorious Negro agitator, affectionately referred to by his own race as the Negro Moses."
The fact that this assignment was handed to Hoover by his superiors shows the government's pre-existing hostility towards black people. This experience shaped Hoover's approach to perceived threats, foreshadowing his later actions as FBI director.
The Black Panthers are recruiting criminals and hoodlums and encouraging them to engage in a broad range of terrorist activities. They are the greatest threat to the internal security of this country. We want to make it clear to black youth, that if they want to be revolutionaries, they will be dead revolutionaries.
If you were a parent in 1968 and you heard Hoover threaten the lives of your children like that, what would you be thinking? What if you were a youth in 1968? What would you have taken from a statement like that? What other people have had the pleasure of hearing the director of the FBI go before the world and threaten the lives of their children?
But as who certainly do not and will not give protection to civil rights workers. Who certainly do not and will not give protection to civil rights workers. The FBI is not a police organization, purely an investigative organization, purely an investigative organization, purely an investigative organization.
Now you guys should be able to understand why the FBI did not step in to protect Biggie, even though they were at the scene of the crime taking pictures of him and his entire entourage, moments before he was ambushed.
These are FBI photos. The amazing thing is that Biggie and Puffy were under surveillance at the time of the murder.
Damn.
So did you see the FBI?
Yeah.
I called the FBI agent who took the photos.
Hello?
Hello, is that Detective?
It would be, yes.
I was wondering if I could talk to you because I understand that you were following Biggie Smalls and Puffy Coombs at the time that Biggie's...
Who are you?
My name's Nick Broomfield.
Yeah.
And I was just... I saw some photographs that I believe you might have taken, and I was wondering if I could talk...
Please, if you're
living?
I'm a documentary filmmaker.
Okay. Let me call you back. I'm in court right now. Sorry, a little.
I discovered he was attending Puffy's trial for the nightclub shooting.
Will be on. No, I was just wondering what it was that you were investigating at the time.
Right. Well, I wouldn't discuss it with you.
Oh, you wouldn't discuss it? Even though it was some time ago?
Well, it hasn't finished yet.
It hasn't finished?
Where did you get my number?
Where you get my number?
Sorry?
Where you get my number?
Where did I get your number?
In 1993, a Senate Select Committee was set up to look into the hip-hop movement. Fear of its inflammatory qualities led to FBI surveillance.
And your number was one of the numbers I was given. As somebody, who was actually following Biggie at the time that he was shot, and who might be able to give me some information. Sorry?
Who gave you my number?
I really don't know offhand who that was.
Okay, well, when you figure it out, beat me. I'll call you back and we'll talk.
Okay. He said, beat me. You know that's old. Beat me.
Not only was the FBI present for Biggie's murder, but they were also in Suge and Tupac's caravan when they were ambushed. I know this to be true because one of Reggie's security guards, Kevin Hackey, was working undercover for the FBI at that time. Unbeknownst to Reggie, Kevin Hackey said that his handlers advised him not to go to Vegas because their intelligence suggested that something big was going to happen down there that weekend, which is why he didn't make the trip.
Kevin Hackey was walked out to back up our bodyguard to Tupac. I was the undercover agent for the FBI for 4 years for Death Row Records.
And you were entirely hip to the fact that he was gunned down in Vegas that night, and that's why you were not there to protect him.
I wish I could play the interview, but I can't. Before John and Baum first got with Reggie, he interviewed Kevin Hackey on his channel. The interview is right here, but now when you press play on it, this is what you get.
Bombfirst.com.
Wow. Maybe John will upload a better version. He might not have known that it was like this.
We've seen a number of investigations into the assassination of Martin Luther King. We've seen an extended police trial of the assassination of Malcolm X. What you seem to say substantiates what many black people say out on the street, that government agents or agencies knew that these assassinations were brewing and either participated in them or allowed them to take place.
It would behoove black people, it would behoove all people, really, to question so-called the cut and dry one lone assassin theory. The Bureau and other intelligence agencies are very good at conspiracies. They are very good at setting people up to be killed. They are very good at making innuendos so the person will be killed.
City police don't know about, because they have policemen in there. They don't let black people form anything without some policemen in there, without some policemen in there, without some policemen in there. All of the black Muslim movement, many of the police who were sent to interfere, the black, would tell me, say, look, I'm a guy. But I had to come, they would tell me. I knew the Muslim movement was full of police. So don't you think anything is going down that they don't know about? The only thing that goes down is what they want to go down. The only thing that goes down is what they want to go down. The only thing that goes down is what they want to go down. And what they don't want to go down, they don't let it go down.
How many of you guys have heard of the Ghetto Informant Program? The Ghetto Informant Program, GIP, was an intelligence gathering operation run by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, from 1967 to 1973. Its official purpose was to collect information pertaining to riots and civil unrest. Through GIP, the FBI used more than 7,000 people to infiltrate poor black communities in the United States. The FBI used more than 7,000 people to infiltrate poor black communities in the United States. Between 1967 and 1973, The FBI deployed over 7,000 informants to infiltrate impoverished black neighborhoods in a covert operation that has never been fully explained. This extensive and systemic targeting raises important questions about whether these tactics persist today.
Damn, son!
The question of why such intense surveillance was directed at marginalized black communities has been discussed, but the true reasons behind it have remained largely unaddressed. But I hope you explanation why this has been happening. As we bring part 1 to a close, I want to show you just a few more things that they believe the God of the Bible is saying to us. It is crucial to understand that when Columbus arrived in the New World, he was in search of a people foretold by the Bible to inhabit this land. Had Columbus come here and not encountered anyone, he likely would have dismissed the Bible as a myth. However, upon discovering people already living on this land, whom he and his people had not yet encountered, his belief in the authenticity of the scriptures was solidified. And this is why I continue to emphasize that regardless of whether you personally believe the story, the oppressor believes it, and he is actively working to prevent the fulfillment of what the Bible prophesies for these people in the future. This explains why he began to rape, rob, pillage, and enslave the indigenous peoples of the Americas upon his arrival. James. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. They shall remember themselves. 2 Chronicles chapter 7 and the 14th verse. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves, shall humble themselves, shall humble themselves, and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Zechariah chapter 10:5. And they shall be as mighty men, which tread down their enemies in the mire of the streets in the battle. And they shall fight, because the Lord is with them. And they shall fight, because the Lord is with them. And the riders on horses shall be confounded. And I will strengthen the house of Judah, and I will save the house of Joseph. And I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them. And they shall be as though I had not cast them off, for I am the Lord their God, and will hear them, and will hear them. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their hearts shall rejoice as through wine. Yea, their children shall see it, and be glad. Their hearts shall rejoice in the Lord. I will hiss for them, and gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased. Jeremiah chapter 50 and the 4th verse. In those days, and in that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek the Lord their God. They shall ask the way to Zion, with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. This verse is about what they call Armageddon, and the war to end all wars. They always speak about Armageddon, but they never speak about why the Bible says it's going to happen. This verse right here will explain it. Remember at the beginning of this video, I told you guys to remember the word restoration. Joel chapter 3 and verse 1. At the time of those events, says the Lord, when I restore the prosperity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather the armies of the world. I will gather the armies of the world. I will gather the armies of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will judge them for harming my people. There I will judge them for harming my people. There I will judge them for harming my people, my special possession, for scattering my people among the nations, and for dividing up my land. They threw dice to decide which of my people would be their slaves. They traded boys to obtain prostitutes and sold girls for enough wine to get drunk.
Wow.
Jeremiah chapter 30 and the 16th verse. And all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, shall go into captivity, shall go into captivity. Isaiah chapter 49 and the 26th verse. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood, as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Isaiah chapter 14 and the first verse. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. For servants and handmaids, who will rule over their oppressors, and they will rule over their oppressors.
Together or apart, keeps your lives in sync. Because what's best for you is
Brennan in Washington. We have breaking news out of the Middle East. President Trump is about to address the nation. Roughly 2 hours ago, he announced via social media that the United States has 3 nuclear sites in Iran. CBS is reporting 6 B-2 stealth fighters dropped 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs on at least one of those sites, the very first time that weapon has been used in combat. Today, it was to destroy an underground nuclear facility about 60 miles southeast of Tehran. The president said that all American planes are safely now out of Iranian airspace. These American strikes are in support of a war that Israel launched on Iran 9 days ago. We know tonight that the Israeli Prime Minister has spoken to the president, thanked him, and congratulated him on the strikes. We are awaiting word now from the President of the United States himself, who is expected to address the nation from the White House. As we await him taking the podium, I want to go to our White House correspondent, Weijia Jiang. Weijia, we know that the President returned to the White House in the 5 o'clock hour, around 6 p.m. He had a national security briefing.
So they saying here, ABC, they saying there's no ceasefire. So we're going to listen to this first. CBS News?
We know about what was going on at that period of time.
That's right, he was...
Military success threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been complete.
Hold on, nah, that's not the one we want, but because I keep saying 2 days ago. When we're going to see 3 hours ago, it said Iran says there is no ceasefire agreement with Israel.
Iran says there is currently no agreement on a ceasefire or cessation of military operations between Israel and Iran. Former Middle East correspondent Nicole Johnston is back with us now. Hi there, Nicole. So what do you make of this statement from the Iranian foreign minister?
Well, it's a really complicated picture, Mel, and we were just talking about how the lead up to the end of any war can get very difficult, especially with a... ceasefire agreement like this that has multiple timelines. We hadn't heard from the Iranians or the Israelis until now. Let me just read out for you what we heard from the Iranian Foreign Minister, Abbas Araghchi, to try and give a bit more detail about it. He said, if Israel stops its illegal aggression against Iranians no later than 4 a.m. Tehran time, we have no intention to continue our response afterwards. So that does make it sound that if Israel stops firing, then the Iranians will stop firing. Now, it's 4:30 a.m. in Iran now. This message is so unclear. We don't know if he's talking about right now.
Maybe he got miscommunication, but we still thinking Donald Trump, bro, you supposed to make more, you the president of America, you got to make a more solid, like, you know what I'm saying, standpoint on what you're saying. You saying it was a peace treaty and they saying no, it wasn't.
Or 24 hours for now, because we know from President Trump's statement, this is a staggered ceasefire with a 6-hour mark, a 12-hour mark, and a 24-hour mark. And that is you're saying, he goes on to say, the final cessation, the final decision on the cessation of our military operations will be made later. So it doesn't sound as though it's quite game over for Iran just yet. And I think they'd be trying to be quite careful about making it not sound as though this is all being stitched up by the United States, the Gulf states, and the Israelis. They still have, the Iranians still have some skin in the game. They're now under heavy bombardment by the Israelis, and they want to continue to show strength. Whereas if it looks like President Trump has sort of handed over this neat, tidy package, it's all done and dusted, so to speak. I mean, that is not the message of regional power that the Iranians want to be projecting.
Damn! Crazy, dog. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep going. Going back to most scandalous Los Angeles. That's our go-to.
Blake's got a birthday cake milkshake from Zaxby's on his birthday. What more could a kid ask for?
But then again, you know how the feds work. We don't care how many chickens or turkeys you pass out.
Yeah.
We don't care how many book bags you can pass out. What we care about is these wiretaps. We care about these confidential informants. And we care about your actions within the means of the law.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. Now that the feds have Big U in custody and reveal details about Operation Drawdown, everything CS2 back has been doing over the past few years starts to make sense. CS2 back strategically gave a platform to Cannon, allowing him to air out personal grievances and ultimately incriminate both himself and Big U, helping the feds build a case and seal a conviction. But it wasn't just CS2 back who played a role in this. Adam 22 was also used as part of this larger scheme. By giving a voice to CS2 back, the federal informant, and allowing individuals like Loose Cannon to speak freely on his platform, Adam has become a useful asset in this federal operation. I'm also going to show you how the feds actually lied for Adam in this affidavit, covering up certain details to protect him while they used him to further their case. The connections and manipulation at play here go deeper than many realize. In this episode, we're going to take a closer look at the videos featured in the Fed's affidavit and break down the crucial role that Porky played in helping the authorities with their investigation. We'll revisit the events and explore how his involvement helped shape the case against Big U. So we'll start here. Henley directs a robbery of and conspires to rob, and Robinson and Williams personally rob a marijuana dispensary at gunpoint.
One such robbery occurred on July 5th, 2021, at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in Los Angeles, where Victim 1 worked. Leading up to the robbery, the Big U enterprise had been extorting Victim 1 for years, and Victim 1 had been paying the Big U enterprise up to $25,000 per month when Victim 1 was at the top of his earning capacity. Shortly before the robbery, however, Victim 1 had ceased paying extortion to the Big U enterprise, as Victim 1 did not believe it was necessary or that he was receiving any benefit from the payments. On the day of the robbery, approximately 11 of the Big U Enterprises members and associates, including Robinson and Williams, both of whom Victim 1 knew well as Rolling 60's members, rushed into the dispensary armed with firearms and without masks. They demanded belongings of anyone inside and stole cash and marijuana from the store before fleeing. At one point, they demanded a Rolex watch from one of the co-owners.
That was loose cannon, dumb.
At Robinson's direction, they ended up letting him keep it. According to Victim 1, while still at the dispensary, the robbers put Victim 1 on the phone with Henley, who invited Victim 1 to Henley's home. According to Victim 1, when Victim 1 arrived at Henley's Arlington premises, Robinson, Williams, and other robbers were there, as were the proceeds of the robbery. Inside, Henley told Victim 1, "That's how you rob yourself." Henley then demanded $10,000 from Victim 1 to ensure other robberies did not occur. Henley also directed Victim 1 to identify other businesses or dispensaries that could be similarly robbed and assured Victim 1 that the Big U enterprise would compensate him for identifying any robberies. Henley then provided a portion of the robbery proceeds back to Victim 1. Williams later admitted to this robbery and the aftermath on a podcast. On the No Jumper podcast, after stating that Williams was Henley's right-hand man, Williams explained, "So, basically, he'll manipulate things. We'll go and do something. And then the same niggas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later as we trying to count everything."
He'll be like, he'll manipulate things, like we'll go and do something, and the same niggas we
So he sent you out to be a crash dummy. That's basically what that is.
do it to.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and exclusive access to all things you
That's
have.
what I don't got, y'all. Premium.
From this.
Show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we try to, counting everything, right?
And we be like, "How the fuck?" Williams then said that Henley would state, "Well, we just going to give like $40,000 back."
And we be like, "How the fuck they get the? Oh well, we're gonna just give them like $40,000 back and stuff like that."
Whack 100, who was a rival Chopper's counterpart of Henley's for the Bloods, was also on the podcast and stated, "You know why he wanted to give the dude back the $40, right? Because he was going to make the dude give him $20 for getting it back."
One day, you know why he wanted to get a dude back to 40, right? Because he was going to make dude give him 20 for getting it back.
Williams then agreed. Of course.
Of course.
And kept you out of it.
Of course. He did that to two famous rappers. Williams then detailed demanding $50,000 from the celebrity rapper RR, or they would kill the celebrity
Rick
rapper
Ross.
MM.
We did that to, when I did that to Meek Mills and Rick Ross.
What did you do?
So,
the club, you split them in the club?
Yeah.
Dude, and Meek and Rick have no idea that Draw sent you out. Dude, and Meek and Rick have no idea that Draw sent you out. Dude, and Meek and Rick have no idea that Draw sent you out.
Williams then said RR dropped off the $50,000 and Henley stopped answering the phone and then did not share any of the proceeds with Williams.
Because I called Ross, I'm like, Ross, drop off the 50,000 and we're gonna let me live on crib. So Ross dropped off the 50,000, and so me and the homies, we go back. He stopped answering the phone, he stopped picking up and shit like that. And we were like, what you doing? Like 2 days later, he called me. He was like, oh, nephew, where you at? And I'm like,
that sound like some
nigga, where my money at? And he was like, oh, I needed it for bills. I needed it for. I'm like, what? Because that's some weird shit.
According to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Henley then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online.
We received a cease and desist from Big U about some of your claims and Loose Cannon's claims, I guess, on this podcast. And after having it evaluated by our legal team, they told us that they thought it was a good idea for us to remove it.
According to further No Jumper and Vlad TV segments, Henley then served a cease and desist order on No Jumper, and this podcast episode was removed from the platform, although a recording of the episode remained available elsewhere online.
In the affidavit, the feds confirmed that Adam 22 received a cease and desist letter from Big U, which prompted the removal of the controversial video from the No Jumper podcast. Adam himself and his legal team advised him to take it down. The feds also claimed that the video was
hey, y'all hit the like button, y'all watching,
but remained available through other channels. The problem is, the video is still live on Adam's channel, with each part of the conversation clearly labeled for easy access. Considering the FBI's reputation for thoroughness, these small, intentional untruths reveal a lot about who's cooperating in this investigation.
Crazy.
Williams' recounting of this robbery occurred years after the robbery of Victim 1's dispensary, and years after Victim 1 had already recounted and documented the robbery for the FBI. Lately, Williams has claimed in multiple interviews that he is no longer affiliated with Big U, whom he now refers to as Big Useless or Big Uterus. However, Williams continues to discuss former Big U enterprise business, to discuss and threaten violent assaults and robberies, and to actually commit the same. For example, on January 3rd, 2025, outside of the No Jumper podcast filming location in Los Angeles, Williams struck a victim in the head multiple times with a firearm and pointed the firearm at the back of his head.
Crazy. Yeah, this one, they jumped the dude in front of No Jumper. Loose Cannon, dumbass. And he did it on camera. That's one of the things probably got him locked up. And then when he pulled the gun on him, they're like, no. They're like, no.
Let's not forget
don't do that.
That Lucy
yeah, wax man, don't do that.
At the orders of his handler CS2 back, the federal informant.
They just don't want to admit the truth that we're not internet group. And that's just the fact to it. And it's like when they come playing, we're going to show you. And unfortunately, somebody, like, they got caught, doing it. They try to come up to wax on some goofy stuff. Wax said next week, let's make an example. And that's what we did. Wax said next week.
Mic check. What's going on, Backpack family? We back with another reaction. As you can see, I got KD up here.
Next week, let's make an example. And that's what we did. Wax said next week, let's make an example. And that's what we did.
While two other suspects removed valuables from the victim, including jewelry, cash, and a cell phone, in excess value of $5,000. The victim lost consciousness during the incident, which was captured on video and posted to social media, apparently to stoke fear and boast of Williams' penchant for violence. After the incident, Williams posted a 7-minute video on his YouTube channel discussing the beating, stating that he used to be Big Useless's enforcer.
I told you, I was Big Useless enforcer.
That he loves to fight, and that the incident could have went a lot worse. Williams' post also played a portion of the assault.
But Whack 100 could be in danger of some sort of indictment, because if Big U is guilty of creating an air and aura of fear and intimidation, using loose cannon to beat people up and paying a check-in fee, well, Whack 100 talks about checking in, not exactly the same way as Big U.
He said Porky speaks about a different kind of checking in than Big U. Let's see how different it is.
It had an entertainment shit. As the man gave a few plugs, I gave a gang plug. Everywhere we went, he took it. We walk in, go boom, 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 this boom, boom, boom. We part of the table. He found me and boom, boom, boom. Then a few niggas like with T.I. The T.I. relationship was a play. Nigga, we put the fake blood press. Nigga, we put the fake blood press. Nigga, we put the fake blood press.
Porky just said we, which means he's admitting to his own involvement, incriminating himself.
Yeah.
Okay, Big U, you pull up at the Denny's in Westwood, boom, you jump out, save the day, and then T.I. gonna be up on the you break like that. That's where that comes from.
That sounds like Porky was the one directing everything. He said they put the fake blood press on T.I. so Big U could come save the day. Porky just said that he did that. Then he said he instructed Big U to regulate that situation. Porky and Loose Cannon's relentless pursuit of getting Big U arrested has led both of them to incriminate themselves in the process. Ironically, Lucy ended up behind bars for his own statements, while CS2 Back has faced no such repercussions. This inconsistency leaves a lot of people wondering why one is being penalized while the other seems to be shielded.
He was kicked out of the house because he wore his son's chain without permission, which is, if you let somebody live with you, it seems like a minor thing to put them out of the house. It could be show the type of personality he is, very domineering. And then he got back cool with him. He got some studio time for him. I wouldn't be surprised if it was with that Mally Mal guy who Loose Cannon jumped on.
What the fuck is wrong with you, yo?
There's footage of Loose Cannon beating up Mally Mal. Loose Cannon tells a whole story about Big U sicking them on Molly Mall, and
So I ended up whooping Molly Mall ass, right? Put it on camera and shit. Guy named Big U. It's cool, they used to be brothers, right?
That's talking about Big U and Molly Mall.
No, Big U, Molly Mall, and you.
Yes.
Molly Mall, who you're friends with.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Right. Yeah, they used to be, they all...
He put us on the phone together.
Yeah. Molly Mall is a good dude, he's just a scammer. So, you know...
Molly's not a scammer.
Allegedly.
Molly Mall is a scammer.
You and Molly Mall is good.
Cool, they still
No,
good.
me and Molly Mall is good.
He talks the truth.
Molly's not a fucking scammer. You know what? This is what I'm saying. All the business I've ever did with Molly, he always delivered.
No, have you ever seen Molly Mall produce a song?
He has the producers.
No.
Pooh Bear, nigga.
Pooh Bear is a writer. Pooh Bear is...
He makes the studio available. He provides the beats, he demos them, and then when people pull up, he press play. I got a hit, the Game and Jeremiah joint.
No, he's just saying though, he just puts his name on things. He don't really do it.
A whole bunch of these producers do that.
That's
smart.
You know that shit.
You're right about
That's
that.
true.
That's a fact. Go ahead, we listen.
Okay, so basically, after I whipped Molly Mall ass for doing some bullshit, and then, and Molly Mall would tell you, he was like, I was in the wrong, I was fucked up, I was going to jail, I was off drugs, and stuff like that. I was just fucked up, so I don't know why I play with you like that.
I don't know that, Mo. I guess when I come around, I've never seen him do drugs and other shit.
Yeah, so I told him that, and then, I guess, Big U told Molly Mall some shit, and then when Big U told Molly Mall some shit, he told you. Molly Mall told you.
Definitely told me.
And then you called Big U, and when you called Big U, he got mad because you outed him or Molly Mall outed him. So he basically said, fuck you and fuck Molly Mall. So
that's why he got mad at me?
He got mad at you because you called him as a man and you stepped to him and he felt...
Because Molly Mall's supposed to be his brother. I've seen Molly Mall bail him out of jail, give him his mansion, just give him the fucking mansion and say, here go the keys of my cars, you my brother, I love you. When he was short on money, Molly Mall go in his pocket, look out for him. I saw Molly Mall help his artists, give him free beats. So when I hear some shit like that, because it was a situation on Sunset, Molly Mall's eating. You see some guys pull up and they get at Molly Mall, right? Saying what? They get at him, ain't no saying nothing. Action. Beat his ass, okay. They get at him, right? That's loose. So I'm like, so I get the call, right? I'm like, he like, yo, I said, yo, who's that? He like, Loose Cannon. I say, what Loose? I say, where you from? Cause I know it ain't him. Because Big U from 6-0. Ain't no way Loose get that Molly Mall like that. So when he say Loose Cannon, I'm like, from where? He like 6-0. I say, wait, that was Loose that did you like that? I said, hold on. So I called Big U. Hey man, why is Loose doing that to bro? Now you gotta remember, me and Molly do real business. I come get a beat from him, you know, I pay him for his beat, give him his points. We gotta hit him and Game and Jeremiah came from Molly, right? So Big U like laughs the shit off.
It's
right?
crazy because
So,
yeah, that's crazy.
like, yo, bro, what kind of shit you on? I thought Molly is, you know what I'm saying? What kind of shit you on?
Yeah.
Right? So then, you know, he started to make mention of certain things, and I guess he must have called you back or called Molly back. He called Molly back and said, you called Wack, and told Wack, and at this point in time, Molly like, fuck me calling Wack. What's up with your homeboys doing me like that? You know, I didn't let your kids stay. I didn't did everything in the world for you. What's up with your... And at that point in time, I think Molly's light came on. Yeah.
But then again, you know how the feds work. We don't care how many chickens or turkeys you pass out.
Yeah.
We don't care how many book bags you been passed out. What we care about is these wiretaps. We care about these confidential informants. And we care about your actions within the means of the law.
Hey man, check this out. Y'all kicking me on the Karma Cafe. I want y'all to like, subscribe, share, definitely hit notification. Good live. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Y'all kicking to me, man. Peace on one.